Good morning, class. This morning we are going to discuss Emily Dickinson's poem Because I Could Not Stop for Death. Who can tell me one of the main poetic techniques that Dickinson is using in this poem? Can you give us a clue? Read the first line. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. So, what is Dickinson doing in this line? Look at the pronoun he. What does he refer to? It sounds like he is talking about death. Very good, Tiffany. So, what is it called when you give an inanimate object human characteristics? Personification? Very good. Now, let's go on. The next line says, the carriage held just ourselves and immortality. What do we learn about death in this line? It sounds like death is driving a carriage or something. Right again. How is Dickinson portraying him? As a threat? As a friend? Look at the adverb. What's an adverb? Look at the word before stopped. Kindly? Yes. Kindly is the adverb. So now answer my question about the way the speaker is viewing this encounter with death. Is she afraid? Not really. She says he kindly stopped for her, so she isn't afraid. You got it. Now look at the next stanza. We slowly drove. He knew no haste. And I had put away my labor, and my leisure too, for his civility. So how does this line reinforce what we learned about death in the previous stanza? Well, it sounds to me like they are out for a Sunday drive. They are going slow and she isn't worrying about work or anything else. Nice work. At this point in the poem, the author is departing from her regular routine to take this ride with death. Yes, and they are going slow so she has time to think. Right again. Now look at the next stanza. What is happening here, Tiffany? They are passing the school and she sees the children playing. They also go past fields of grain and see the sun setting. What do you think this represents? Well, the school probably represents her childhood. She is thinking about her childhood. Good. What about the next two lines which refer to gazing grain and the setting sun? I think the sunset must represent the end of her life or her old age. This makes sense since it is going down. Then the grain line might refer to her middle age. That makes sense. I think I am getting this. We are now on stanza 4, which makes a sudden shift in mood. What is happening here? It sounds like she is getting cold. It also sounds like she is not wearing much clothes. What is a gossamer? That probably refers to her nightgown, which is not very heavy. Why do you think she is suddenly cold? That's easy. She is cold because it is getting dark. The sun has set. Right. She is also suddenly feeling funny and ashamed since she is not dressed appropriately. Death doesn't seem to be so nice now, does he? No, he doesn't. Look at the next stanza. We paused before a house that seemed a swelling in the ground. Where do you think death has taken her? Where the dead hang out, I guess. A cemetery maybe. Nice work. How has her attitude changed? I don't think she is as happy as she was in the beginning. She sees the tombstones and realizes that death is not all as is cracked up to be. That is one way of putting it. Yes, she is disappointed when she sees her new home. I think she is irritated because death really wasn't as kind and gentle as she thought he would be. Nice. Look at the last stanza. What do we learn about the timeline here? It says since then 'tis centuries, so I guess she is saying that she died a long time ago. The ride in the carriage was not recent. Correct. She ends the poem by saying that centuries have passed but they seem shorter than a day. She remembers the day when she first realized that death had seduced her. He seemed like such a gentleman, but he left her alone in the cold and dark cemetery. That's pretty depressing. She didn't believe in heaven? Not in the end. Remember the stanza about the house? We paused before a house, a swelling in the ground. Yes, and then she says it was just a mound, nothing wonderful. Right. And if you are familiar with the Bible, how is heaven shown? I think the Bible says that God has a mansion with many rooms, right? Exactly, so in the beginning of the poem, she may have thought that she was going to a mansion, but what happened at the end? She was left alone in a rotten cemetery with no mansion. Wow! That's too bad. It is a powerful poem, don't you think? Yes. But it is also depressing. Aren't we ever going to read about people who are happy? Most good literature reflects real life, Tiffany, and real life is not a reality show. Things don't always end the way we hoped they would. I guess you're right, but I hope our next assignment is more upbeat. We shall see. Have a nice day.